Hey, welcome to another amazing, fantastic episode of Mikey's Video Game Madness. Thank you for coming. All maybe 5 of you. I really appreciate it. Today we are playing Mafia Definitive Edition on the PlayStation 4 Pro, but I mean it's technically for the PlayStation 4. In order to record this, I had to lower the PlayStation 4 settings, obviously the 1080p, and also turn off the HDR and stuff like that. So it looks quite a bit better, I think, in my mind. Maybe my mind's just playing tricks on me, but I really do think the colors look a lot better with the HDR, and the brightness out of the lights, the light fixtures and stuff like that are more vivid. They actually almost look like a light source, like coming out of your TV, if that even makes any sense. But this is basically a remake of the first Mafia game that originally came out on PC. I never got to play the PC version. That was the definitive edition for a very long time. It was just called Mafia. It wasn't called the definitive edition, but that was like the best version that you could play. And then randomly they decided to come out with Mafia Definitive Edition, and then they also came out with I don't know if Mafia 2 is called the Definitive Edition or just remastered. I don't know. I think they're all called Definitive Edition. Mafia 2, Mafia 3. Here you had to digitally download them, but I believe I know that pretty sure there's a Japanese version. I don't know about Europe, but you actually could get all the physical copies together. But since I already owned Mafia 3 and then had the DLC for it, I was just rebuying a lot of what I've already had, so I didn't go for it. So I bought the physical version of Mafia. But they did come out with ports on the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox, and they were terrible compared to the screenshots and the videos I've seen recently of Mafia on the PC. They suffered from terrible fog, terrible textures. If you thought the PS2 port of Max Payne 1 and 2 were blurry, bad, and had long loading times, and not the best controls in the world, then you were in a world of hurt. And ironically enough, like the Xbox version of the original Mafia was delayed quite a bit it was delayed quite a bit after the PlayStation 2 version. I know I should edit out my mistakes, but it's more genuine to hear how scattered my thought process is. But anyway, yeah, so you think it would be way better. At the time, I actually had a original Xbox. Buys me time to try to say something intelligent. Unfortunately, it typically doesn't work. So I saw Mafia on the PlayStation 2, and I played it, and for what it was at the time compared to other games that was out there, obviously, I can't remember if Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was out at the time, by the time the Mafia port of on PlayStation 2 came out, but those games like Grand Theft Auto 3 and not San Andreas, Vice City, those were like way better games. So I was already used to playing halfway decent. They're still good to this day, even though I personally can't go back and play them and enjoy them like I used to, because I hate the targeting system that you had to use, where you had to use the shoulder buttons to actually like switch targets and stuff like that, instead of manually aiming like you would do in this game and pretty much every third person game out there ever that comes out now. Yeah, so the story was really interesting, and then by the time the Xbox version came out, I was like, they probably just took more time to develop this one. Ended up, in my mind at least, based on memory, it just looked marginally better. There wasn't anything like that much better. And that was strange to me because the original Xbox was a really powerful system, and the Xbox ports of like Max Payne and Max Payne 2 were a lot better looking than the PlayStation 2 ports. I won't lie, back in the day, you don't notice a lot of times when things are new and they aren't that great. A lot of times you don't notice how slow or not that great things are until you look back retrospectively. Like sometimes those games would probably have like a 15 frame per second frame rate. Even going back to the PlayStation 3, looking at some of these PlayStation 3 first person shooters that are supposed to be at 30, now going back, say what you will, and I understand if you're a PC player and you've been one your whole life, and for a decent amount of time you've been playing games that run above 60 frames per second. So seeing something like on PlayStation 3 that can't even make it to 30 frames per second. A lot of games, at least during this generation, if they weren't 60 frames per second, I know a lot of games like kind of went below 60, but games like Call of Duty and stuff like that, they stayed pretty decently around 60, but most games on 8th gen have stayed at 30, and I just assumed that they were 30 on PlayStation 3 most of the games, and that was the goal, but I didn't realize how stuttery they were and how the frame rate dipped so much until I went back and looked at them. It's pretty crazy how your like mind tricks itself sometimes. The games are still playable. They're not like 15 frames per second like some of these games I play on PlayStation 2. I wish there was a console, not an emulated way, like using like an emulator on the PC. Like, it's really disappointing that Sony didn't add PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 compatibility, especially to combat against Xbox's Series X compatibility, like backwards compatibility. It kind of sucks because I have a lot of PlayStation 2 games I would just like to put in and not fiddle with emulators and ROMs and stuff like that. But my friend's been doing that quite a bit on PC, and he says like they've been running great and stuff like that, and there isn't any option. I'm tempted to at least try to play them natively, but it would be nice if like your system played legacy games. I could understand like maybe why the PlayStation 3 games wouldn't work backwards compatibility wise, because the architecture on that system is like batshit crazy. But yeah, like I didn't even, when I played The Last of Us, I didn't realize the frame rate dipped as much as it was. I'll be honest with you though, the game's still very playable on the PlayStation 3, and it still blows my mind that that game's able to run it all on PlayStation 3. Just like when I was playing The Last of Us 2, when I played The Last of Us 1 on PlayStation 3, like I had to look at the system a few times. It's like, is this for real? How is this playing it? And I did kind of the same thing with The Last of Us 2 on the PlayStation 4. As time goes on, I mean, the plan is to make a video recommending the games that I've enjoyed the most at the end of the year, and I would like to do that. I don't think I'm going to make a video with gameplay footage of every single video. It might just be a video of me just sitting there talking, which sucks because I hate being on camera, but I think the video would drag because I don't want to just stop at 10 games. Like, there's a lot of games. Some of them are going to be probably easily predictable and on a lot of people's lists, but I'm hoping to recommend a few games that maybe you wouldn't think of. But lately I've been trying out some games that like I didn't think would be on the list, or I didn't even know about until recently, and the list keeps on growing, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna make this before, like, my goal was to make it before Black Friday, which is the Friday after it's immediately the day after Thanksgiving, like the Friday after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's always on a Thursday. I don't have my phone with me. I'm thinking Thanksgiving's the 27th. I don't know offhand. We're in an age of computers. You can look it up. It's funny, I haven't barely talked about this game, but it's my channel. I'll do what I want. Anyway, as I was saying, that there's just so many games, and I don't have footage of all of them. What I want to do is talk about the game briefly, and then at least have a link to me, even if it's a shit video, just a link of showing my video of me that I've really enjoyed, have been like recent discoveries. That means I have to record the games and make videos of them. So maybe January, like maybe you'll have bonus money or hopaliday gift money in January. I don't know. We'll play it by ear, but I'm hoping that I'll make some recommendations that you didn't think of. But I would be lying to you if I'm not going to recommend some games that are probably going to be on other people's lists. But if they're games that I really enjoy and I really think that they're good games, I'm going to recommend them. Anyway, that's the plan. I might end up doing absolutely nothing. I don't know. Like, I have all these awesome plans. Like, I'm happy that I got this one video out of the week, but that's the plan. This is a great remaster, or it's a remake. Let's be real. The graphics are amazing. It really impresses me. The screen space reflections, to me, they look almost as good as like a lower end version of ray tracing. I'm really, like, obviously it's not even near the quality of ray tracing, but like maybe if you had ray tracing at the lowest end settings, like the reflections, even though it looks like it's made with glitter or whatever, because I mean, you know, it's PlayStation 4. You're not going to get what you expect out of a PC, but I'm really impressed, especially with the reflections, with the rain and everything like that, and how much is actually showing through the reflections. But it's not ray tracing, but it looks really damn good. The character models are high. If you played Mafia 3, you kind of know what to expect. The controls are pretty much similar. I think you can't roll, which isn't really a big deal, but I even saw I rewatched footage of Mafia, like on the highest settings on PC, and this is just absolutely amazing. It costs $20 less than a brand new game, which blows my mind, because you could tell so much work was put into this game. This game was motion captured. Everything was like all the voices were reacted. Like the models everything's redone. As far as I know, nothing in the game was reused. Like basically the story and the outline of everything. And I feel like if you like open world games or any of the Mafia games, you're going to enjoy this. If you're thinking about getting Mafia 2, don't expect this kind of upgrade with Mafia 2. I played Mafia 2 on the PlayStation 3, which was probably the lesser version to play it on. It was missing some things, like blood draining out of the characters after you kill them, like pools of blood would leak out of the characters, and there was things like blades of grass missing and stuff like that were on the 360 version. That's the best console version to play. Obviously the PC version was the best version to play, and that game supported physics, something that something that I haven't really seen, or maybe I haven't noticed, that hasn't even been supported on 8th gen systems, like with the particles. Like I noticed it wasn't featured, like the liquid physics and the particles and everything weren't featured. and the Handsome Jack collection. The Batman Arkham games on PC had like more papers and stuff flowing around, and I believe Mafia 2 had more like particles and stuff with like the glass in the windows breaking that weren't featured. But I haven't got that far on the PlayStation 4 remaster of Mafia 2. Maybe I'll cover that in the future. We will see. But this is an awesome game. Thank you so much for still watching my channel and supporting it just by watching it in the comments. I apologize if there's commercials in it. Apparently YouTube decided to put commercials in videos that aren't even like monetized or have any copyright things going on in them, so it might be a serious video and then you'll see an Outback Steakhouse commercial. But thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you on the next video. This is a shorter video and I'm still talking and it's already over. So anyway, take care. Talk to you on the next video. Bye.
If you want to, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.